TV.ru, plays for .pro, King of the Hill, Heart of the Swarm, show match, best of 9 between Hyun and White Raw. So down here, guys, up here, starting at the top left side of Neo Kespa Planet, as it is our one and only, our lovable Protoss Alexei himself. It is White Raw in the blue trunks, showing us a very patient last game, very entertaining to watch. Game number 1, he did a wonderful sky toss build as well, having the 2-1 lead against his opponent located down here at the bottom left side in the red trunks, representing Quantum Gaming in the red trunks. It is Hyun. So we are ready in set, guys, for game number 4. Again, this is a best of 9, so lots of Heart of the Swarm content. If you guys have not already, feel free to follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/cheeseheadlogic, basically just as the channel name is. Feel free to tweet at me, and of course check for all the updates. I should have this on YouTube soon, within a small amount of time. I probably will release the replay pack as well, as long as, of course, none of the players are offended or not okay with that. We should be okay. So that is the current plan. I apologize. I'm like a little bit like in mini burp mode. I'm trying to like knock down Red Bull as well, trying to keep myself awake. So here we go. Pool getting thrown down, so nothing really too out of the ordinary. White Raw already crossed the map, just double checking for everything else. Already even stole a mineral. Oh, you Ukrainian. Oh, no, maybe like you Ukrainian bastard. No, I'm just like, you stole a mineral from Hyun. Overall, White Raw doing a wonderful job making sure he doesn't get too distracted by him. And as we see, there we go, puts down the pylon block as well, so that's going to delay Hyun for the time being. And this is kind of one of those interesting maps with Neo Planet S, as you guys take a look and see. Look how actually far away the potential thirds that he could grab. And as we see, very far away, Hyun deciding, though, he's got to do it, though. So if anything I had to expect from White Raw this game, probably in regards to, we'll go Forge Fast Expand and then into some sort of harass, maybe quick gateway pressure, maybe some quick Oracle harassment. It's just kind of, some of these bases are very far away. The main and natural are close, so they're going to be easily defendable, but if he in fact decides to take a third, it is going to be very exposed, regardless whether it's this one over here or this one over here. Now, we were talking last game a little bit about Hyun, so let's continue our little storyline today. Again, last we left off with him playing in Code S recently back in January with his group of Boom Boom, Yoda, and Squirtle. I'm pretty sure he finished third, if I'm not mistaken. Got dropped down into Code A, round number 2. He beat Labyrinth, one of the new up-and-coming players that we see here in the SC2 scene coming over from Kespa. So he was able to beat him, and then, of course, in Code A, in round number 3, he finally was able to get his revenge against Sniper. He was able to beat him 2-1, which was really entertaining because I kind of watched a tiny bit last night from that series, game number 1, where they played on Abyssal City, if I'm not mistaken. Basically just showed off really good Roach, Hydra, and Fester. And again, we are talking Wings of Liberty-esque styles, because again, only GSTL has been the only GSL league that has started HOTS, I guess, in a sense. So the main GSL tournament hasn't started the HOTS portion. I'm like trying to word this correctly to like not make myself like too stupid. Game number 2, they played on Icarus, and with really nice mutiling into roaches, was eventually, Sniper was able to overwhelm Hyun. But then game number 3 on Akalon Flats, Hyun just showed just solid macro overall. I mean, no gaps, solid control, eventually was just able to overwhelm with Queen, Roach, Hydra, and before even Infestors were out. So congratulations to him. So he's definitely going to be playing in the first season of Code S and Heart of the Swarm. So going to be very excited to watch and see what Hyun does. And again, if I had to put up probably one of the top front runners for Code S, potential champion, I would actually put my money on Hyun, because again, this is one of those guys that plays in so many miniature cups. He's played in a lot of show matches, so he's had a lot of experience. I mean, again, it goes both ways. It's a little bit of a double-edged sword in regards. So if since he's been playing a lot of Heart of the Swarm, he's going to be very good. But because he's been playing a lot of show matches, he's been playing a lot of games that have been in exposure in explosive territory, I guess, if you want to call it. There's a lot of content on him, so opponents will have the capability to prepare for him. And again, hopefully, hey, maybe maybe a pro player will give my channel a view or two, just be able to check that out. So As we see Stalker heading across the map, going to be able to maybe pick off one Ling, but at the moment it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Hyun, meanwhile, with all 3 hatches are finally up and running, getting 4 additional Lings as well as continually droning up now. This is kind of a little bit of an interesting moment. I'm waiting to see what eventually Alexei does, and right in front of Hyun's face, he does put down the Stargate, does show that to him. But like I said, with these bases being so far away, Hyun actually, there we go, good job having that second queen over here. He's going to probably need a Spore and have at least 2 queens over here at the far third, because like I said, it's just too far away to be able to just walk over comfortably, and looks like he's not even going to mess with it. He's like, yeah, we're gonna put 2 queens here. We're not even going to deal with that. And look at this, good job by White Rock Control, and utilizing the Mothership Core. And this is one of the most interesting units, guys. If you guys haven't had a chance to really play or check it out, it's actually a really unique unit. It attacks ground, doesn't do exactly a lot of DPS, can't exactly give you the exact statistic on it, but it's a little bit of a slow-moving unit, very weak in regards to damage susceptibility, so it takes a lot of damage very fast, so about 2 to 3 Marines or a couple Queens like that could just push it away, as we just watched. But it has some very unique abilities, as we take a look and see. It's got his Photon Overcharge, which of course can turn a Nexus into a cannon once it has 100 energy on this bad boy. So we've seen that several times where Protosses are in a lot of pressure, under duress, or Muta's flying or something like that in regards, and they just pop that bad boy up, and that thing has a lot of range. Again, it's one of those things that, as a Terran myself personally, when I play, I'm like, oh my freaking god, I'm pushing in with a 1-1-1, and all of a sudden this like completely this thing that just completely outranges the hell out of my tanks. I'm just like, oh my god, I almost want to like snap a keyboard over my knee, but it's kind of unique in that regards. Of course, as we watched last game, utilizing recall, so once it has 100 energy, mass recall, doing a wonderful job as well last game, and time warp, which is that green glob. I keep calling it the green glob just because it's basically the green glob, but it is time warp, which slows down the units within the space. As we take a look and see, there we go, targeted area for 30 seconds and reduces movement speed by 50, and it only affects your opponent and does not affect the Protoss player himself or the user of the time warp ability. So I think once players get a little bit more comfortable and get more used to these different kinds of abilities and styles and how to properly use everything, it's going to be really entertaining. Again, guys, we're still in the very initial stages of beta. Again, it has been out for about, I want to say, 5-6 months, but in regards to with all the different patches, balances, units getting added in, units getting taken out, abilities getting completely remorphed and changed, finally I think we're getting to a little bit more of a stability point, and of course getting a lot closer to release, which of course is going to be on March 12th. So I think it's going to be a really fun game. It's going to resurrect StarCraft in a sense, not in any sense that StarCraft was died or anything in this, but it will put new interest, more interested in innovation. And like I said, I was kind of a little bit worried for a little bit of a time as we watch right now. Hyun kind of coming on in here with his Ling Hydra's got to be a little bit careful. There's quite a few ground units at the moment in favor of White Rock, but more Hydras are joining into the battle, and oh my god, allowing the Zerg to have way too much surface area at the moment. Second Colossus coming on in here, but he's got to macro this back. Beautiful job right now by White Rock, now finally pressing this back, utilizing the Colossus to break his own force fields, and going to head on forward. And Hyun's actually going to lose all of this army, and I think that's a huge mistake of his. That's actually a big blunder. He's trying to get additional Lings and Hydras, but has to realize that there are 2 Colossus with range. There's an Immortal, there's Sentries, there are still Stalkers around, so he's got to be very careful how he controls this, plus another pack of Zealots over here that's been warped in, and I think he's going to head over to this third base down at the bottom right side of the map, and Lings or Mass Ling is not going to be the answer in this regards, unless he somehow miraculously catches a lot of this. He's got to be very careful with his control. Now, White Rod also has to do the same thing because he is coming on to creep. If he gets a really nice surround, the Lings will be able to maybe somehow surround, and the Hydras will be able to DPS it down. But with this amount of Zealots, Stalkers, and Sentries, I think this is going to be a very, very tough task. And now also trying to introduce the Mothership Core as well with the Time Warp ability in regards to engagements can really also help him out with his units. So at this point, we're just watching as White Rock kind of don't want to say maximizes or trying to completely go 200, but waiting for his third Colossus to get over, and there we go, utilizing the time war. Beautiful job catching a lot of these units on in there, but not in time to be able to catch everything. And as we see right now, he needs to put down some really nice force fields. A lot of units running into his time glob. Could have been able to catch a couple more of those links, but being very, very patient with his control. As we see, just doing a wonderful job with the 3 Colossus, trying to harass the best he possibly can. Here we go, finally more force fields heading on down, but the Hydra's getting some really nice surface area as we watch the concave in favor of Hyun, but just might be way too much Protoss, way too much Colossus, as we see more White Raw heading on in here, pulling the drones as well on top of everything. Meanwhile, Alexei is just continuously warping in and breaking on through the Zerg forces, and as we see, this whole entire third is completely compromised, lost all of his drones to the pool, and once that happens, that's typically a complete desperation move by the Zerg players. So it looks like this game is probably going to go into White Raw, setting him up with a 3-1 lead. Awesome stuff by that side of on the side of Alexei, I guess. Yeah, on the side of White Raw. Sorry. Solo casting at 8 in the morning with 3.5 hours of sleep, man. Don't suggest it unless it's a Heart of the Swarm show match. So, and there we go. We're just seeing as he walks on in here. Meanwhile, on the backside over here, counterattack going on now. How successful will this be? If you can take out this cannon, this mothership core can't really do too much with the Hydras, and as we see, the Hydras are just gonna basically, there we go, poke it on down. Honestly, a couple warpins could just happen on the backside over here. It should be more than enough to clear it out. So I'm not really too worried about it. I mean, regardless, there's just not enough DPS to be able to take out all the buildings fast enough. Regardless, even in a base trade situation, White Raw has way too much with the Zealots, the Stalkers, the Immortals, and the Colossus. He's got everything he necessarily needs to be able to force this game, to win this game in regards to base trade. So as we watch and see, like I said, with just another warp in, he should be okay on the backside. All the Hydras and the Lings are completely getting taken out, and that leaves Hyun at a supply of 24. With whatever the heck that is, and it looks like he's just trying to mine out as best as he possibly can, get mutas, but we already know as well as I do, with 8 mutas, he's not going to be able to take out this amount of sentries.